My co-host Miguel Gravel surprised me with an impromptu interview with his mom, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear this. She is a Republican, and first I want to thank her for allowing herself to be interviewed on a podcast called Justice Democrats. It's incredibly humbling for us and brave thing on her part. So we will present this interview without any edits, adjusted only for audio quality. However, I want you guys to hear the sort of things she says, because I have to be honest, I imagine that if she and I were in an extended discussion, yeah, there'd be a lot of things here or there that we would disagree with. But I don't think there's a single thing she says during Miguel's discussion with her that I disagree with at all. When she's listing her priorities about what our country needs, we're in complete agreement over the priorities. And I think if I were to rank the things that I feel are most important, I would probably pick most of the things that she's saying she feels are most important. So I'm incredibly grateful for Miguel and his mother for doing this, because I think it's a great example about how the majority of Americans are in agreement when it comes to what we need. We share a core identity as Americans, and that's something we need to treasure and something we need to value. So again, thanks to Miguel and his mother, Mrs. Gravel, for doing this, and it's really inspiring for me to see ways that I can connect with other Americans across the party line, and it gives me hope for the future, I'll be honest.
Hello, this is the co-host, Miguel Gravel. I'm here with my mom today, and we're at my sister's house currently in Danville, California. I'll let my mom introduce herself. Say hi, Mom.
Hi, I'm Ana Elena Gravel, and I'm here visiting my son and my daughter.
Okay, so for the audience, just so you guys can know, so the name of the show is called Justice Democrats, and it's about Democrats who are just angry with the Democratic Party and think that they need a lot of changes. My mom happens to be Republican, and one of the things we promised in this show is that it's really important to hear voices from everybody, regardless of what their political party is, just to see what are the ideas that they have, to see what our country needs to do better to be a better country. So I'll just be giving the voice to my mom, and she'll be explaining what she feels, or like maybe her top 3 priorities of what she thinks she would like to see our country do better, and that'll help us figure out how we move forward as a nation and everything. Okay, here's my mom.
Yeah, I think what I believe is if the country stays too long in one party, the country changes too much. So sometimes it's a good thing to change party so that things get balanced. But still, the president should be listening to the people's voices. So he should meet them in the middle there, because after all, people are expressing what they believe. But I think they should express their views with respect and not with violence, because that doesn't lead any place. And there will be a better response of that president when things are dealt with in a calm way, like following Martin Luther King ways, with peace and not with violence.
And so sometimes people, for example, like I'll be talking to people in the street, Mom, and some people say, well, I really think that we need to fix certain things, like maybe like some people say we need to fix our education system, or some people will say we need more jobs. Some people will say we need to fix corruption in politics, or some people will pick like different areas. What are some of the areas that are important to you that you would like to see get better in our country?
Well, I would like some of the places that are they haven't gotten any help before to hear their voices. If people need more jobs, or people need to get ahead, maybe help some agencies that help people that have been homeless because they lost jobs and they don't have housing. So then investigate how you help people to get back to work, because they might be living on the street or they might be living in a car. So then just see how to help those people that have been homeless and they want to get back to the workforce. Also, I would like some of the children that they get better schooling, depending on better environment. If they live in dangerous communities, that it is safe for them to go to school. There might not be violence or gangs, so just that it's just safe for kids to get to school and improve their schools. And also there's a lot of mothers that might be single mothers, and they might need the work, they need the help with children and find jobs. And also there's a lot of people that might be homeless because they were in wars and they need to have good medical help because that's how they ended on the streets. So there's a lot of veterans that I would like to get some good help and medical help and maybe get them off the streets. And somebody said that sometimes there's different ways that you can provide cheaper housing for people that are homeless, so that they're safe, they have a place to shower and eat, and maybe eventually get to jobs.
Breaking their own rules, the Dems show that they would rather lose with Perez than win with Ellison, but we're going to. One by one, senators are shitting their pants, avoiding town halls because they're afraid we're going to. Palmieri says that big crowds mean we should have moved left, which is why we, not her, will. 7 new Earths were discovered, but there's only one that we live on, and it's up to us too. Our military is using illegal depleted uranium tips on its weapons rather than raising its budget. We're going to. California actually has a bill for a single-payer system. They're doing the right thing, so help them. We're the Justice Democrats. We love our country. We're angry. It's broken. We're going to. Hi, I'm Cliff Hansen for Just Us, the Justice Democrats podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Miguel.
Hi, everybody.
So we were just kind of bitching and moaning a little bit about the DNC chair vote, and Miguel had missed it. But kind of a brief rundown, it was really close. A lot of people were kind of on the edge. There were a handful of candidates besides the obvious two, like Sally Brown. Mm-hmm. Kind of whittled it down to Perez and Ellison, who were the expected to. A lot of people like Brown were trying to give her votes to Ellison, a lot of wheeling, dealing last minute. But in the end, it came out, it was kind of a photo finish, but there was a clear win for Perez. But Nomiki Konst, who is a reporter for the Young Turks, noticed that despite DNC rules the DNC rules do not allow a secret ballot, but that's how they voted. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the people that she was talking to were saying that they were planning, or they supported Ellison, but they were thinking they were going to have to vote for Perez because this is how our democracy works for some reason. And because it's a secret ballot, there's no accountability for this voting. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You probably did better missing it than me getting just so angry at watching how the sausage is made, but this is why we're here. I mean, this is... Oh,
literally, I was making sausage in the kitchen, so at least it was a sausage I could eat instead of this bull.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at a lot of, on social media, a lot of progressive sites and people, and there's so many people that are saying, that's it, I'm out of the Democratic Party. I'm like, this is what's getting you out? Like, if you went through everything and were supportive of the Democrats until now, that's kind of weird. But like, from my perspective, this is exactly why we need to replace them. Like, this is the analogy I used on Facebook was the Democrats right now are saying, yeah, I'm not too drunk to drive. I can drive. Just hand me the keys. And when they say unity, that's what they're saying. And this is exactly why it's the responsible thing to do is replace them. You know, this cry for unity, they are a losing party. They've lost over 1,000 seats nationwide, and we are getting, I don't know the exact number, and I would actually request that you and our listeners kind of do some research. I don't know what specifics are needed to be able to amend the Constitution. It's like 2/3 of the states nationwide. How close are they? Like I'm like to having that already. Like they may literally be within a seat or two of being able to amend the Constitution at will. And
Yeah, that's frightening.
But by going for someone who is the exact consistency as Perez is saying, no, we are not recognizing the trouble that middle-class America is in. We're not recognizing the people that voted for Trump out of desperation. We think we're right, and we're going to keep doing things the way we've done, which has been a demonstratively losing path. Their cries for unity are basically saying, shut up, trust us, and they've demonstrated every reason not to be trustworthy. So this is not a good sign.
Yeah. No, I'm just sick and tired of, whether it's, I'm sure it's a mix of all the above, but, I see there's, you have somebody like Tom Perez, who's very establishment, and it's like, you're just so excited to be rewarded for your service to the Democratic Party by being a mainstream candidate that just stands for corporate greed and, shrinking the middle class, that you're just going to complain about Trump and say we need to band together and just make that the only issue and ignore the underlying issues that brought a Trump to power. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there. It's a political class right now, and they feel that they have earned their time.
Right.
But it's about merit. It's not about time. And it's not about the money that you're bringing in. And I mean, unfortunately, a lot of, when it comes to bills being passed, that it is exactly about the money coming in, but that's what we're trying to overthrow. Just kind of to show the stakes. Have you heard about Bill SB 1142 in Arizona?
No.
Okay, well, hold on.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah. Just to show the stakes, just to show that a lot of people that I'm interacting with are doing the same old nonsense about don't be a divider, be a uniter. Like it's too dangerous now to not do things the way the Democrats have been losing for the last decade.
Yeah.
And I mean, they are on a failing path. And I want to make it clear I understand the stakes. So right now in Arizona, it's SB 1142. It's a bill that has passed the Arizona Senate. So, I mean, they're making headway. They're halfway there on this bill. But just to show you how fucking fascist and insane, and I mean, the word fascist, I am not using that as hyperbole. I mean, literal fascism, Sharia law shit. If this bill passes into law, if you plan a protest, you can be arrested for planning a protest.
Wow.
Basically, they are putting our constitutional right to protest in with racketeering laws. So the argument is if there's any form of violence that is at a protest, everyone involved in the protest can be charged and have their assets seized under racketeering laws, essentially scaring people away from their constitutional right to protest. Because most of the protests I've been at have been, there's been wonderful coordination with the police. There's been a few kind of scary incidents here or there, but for the most part, most of the protests I've been in have been fairly peaceful. But let's say that I'm at a protest against a war in Iran or against deportation or something like that, and somebody throws a rock or a bottle at me, suddenly it is now a violent protest, and I can have the car I drove to seized. I can have my cell phone seized. I can potentially even have my house seized because, that was a tool for planning this protest, this racketeering.
Dear people, I have my pocket constitution handy, which I carry in my backpack and pocket at all times. And the First Amendment to the United States Constitution of America, which was added on December 15th, 1791, so pretty old, says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble, what Cliff is just talking about, and also what he's talking about, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Mm-hmm. So that is flagrantly being violated by this bill that is being considered for state law in Arizona.
Yeah, and it is literally thought crime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that is pure fascism, and it's a great example of how we're not fighting just Trump. We are fighting a whole. I mean, this is Captain America nailed it with Hydra. I mean, it's
yeah. Let me give the audience a definition of fascism and authoritarianism. Please. So fascism is, I quote, an authoritarian, we'll define that in a second, and nationalistic right-wing system of government and social organization. Okay? So we got the right-wing part. We know that they're really, America, F yeah, nationalistic. It's very social, starting with Tea Party BS and all that right-wing conservative organization. But the authoritarian part, in case you feel that's not appropriate, that means favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority, especially that of the government, at the, here's the kicker, everybody, at the expense of personal freedom. This is dictionary definition fascism that we are seeing.
Which shows you just how much the corporate Democrats are failing, because all of these salt of the earth, Midwestern Republicans are people that is exactly what at their heart they're against.
Yeah, totally.
And the Democrats are doing such a bad job connecting with people to not sell them on that basic idea.
Yeah.
If people are voting for what they are mistakenly led to believe is the anti-big government party, and they're voting for people that are literally going to say, we want to be so big, we will control your media, we'll control your right to free speech. We need to do a better job. And, as Justice Democrats, I think we're inherently more prepared than the Democrats are to actually reach out for Republicans and conservatives who aren't crazy, because if that doesn't chill you, like if you are not fighting Arizona SB 1142, I have zero respect for you. You are not supporting America. If you are calling this one's on the sidelines, if you're going to back off from this, you teach history, and I'm sure one of the things you do is look back at kind of the linchpin moments, and everything's a series of events, and there's never exactly one thing that sets something off. Like we like to, World War I is so confusing. We like to kind of reduce it down to the shooting of Archduke Ferdinand, but when really there's a lot more going on. But this is a linchpin moment. If that bill passes, that's it. You're in California. California's kind of reacting in the other way, and California is being really gutsy and standing up. And so hopefully we'll see some of the opposite, but it's terrifying me. But if you are not actively doing something to fight this, what's the point of you?
Cliff, can you let everyone know what that is one more time? It's Arizona State Bill.
Yep. 1142.
All right. So everyone should Google that, find your petitions. And then besides that, find some other way to get organized.
Yeah, I mean, reach out to groups in Arizona, people that are actually on the ground there, see if there are ways to support. If you're not fighting this, I mean, this is on our watch.
Yeah.
Like, we are at a moment in history. We are being recorded right now. I mean, you and I literally, but I was talking in a grander sense. Like, this is for posterity here. That's why I like the word organized, because we can't attack everything at once. And kind of the brilliance of Trump's strategy is that they're basically attacking every single aspect of American democracy at the same time, with the goal of exhausting us and wearing us out. So we need to break off into different groups tackling different subjects. We can't do all at once, but as far as I'm concerned, this bill is one of the biggest, because if you can't protest, if you lose your right to free speech, what do you got?
Yep, that's when that stuff breaks down. Just so people know, I was just looking at the indivisibleguide.com, and it looks like on yesterday at 10 a.m. at a Starbucks at 8225 West Bell Road in Peoria, Arizona, they had an indivisible guide or meeting of progressives to resist Trump's agenda and that sort of thing. So if you live anywhere near there, contact the host sanders.joe14, written out 14, at gmail.com. And that's how you can get organized if you're in Arizona and feel alone. And that's, one group that I know with my work that I've been doing in the El Cerrito City Council. I've posted work for my El Cerrito Progressives group on Indivisible, and then all these people who are on Indivisible will just like rain down on a city hall meeting and say, I represent Indivisible on this street, on this block, in this neighborhood in our city, and all these people. So I know I'm sort of preaching to the audience choir here, because I'm probably in one of the most shielded states from all of Trump's crap, and there's a lot of progressive stuff going on in California, especially in the Bay Area where I live. But
yeah, I disagree.
Let's get moving.
I disagree. I would say not only is California not shielded, but because of its proactive approaches, it's specifically targeted.
Yeah, that I agree. I was just trying to play my piece of humble pie, but we do have our own challenges.
California is kind of known as a bastion of liberalness. We can't rely on the establishment Democrats. This is a clear example. Why not? All you Star Trek fans out there know the story of the Scorpion, but just in case you don't.
There's a story I heard as a child, a parable, and I never forgot it. A scorpion was walking along the bank of a river, wondering how to get to the other side. Suddenly, he saw a fox. He asked the fox to take him on his back across the river. The fox said, "No. If I do that, they'll sting me, and I'll drown." The scorpion assured him, if I did that, we'd both drown. So the fox thought about it, finally agreed. So the scorpion climbed up on his back, and the fox began to swim. But halfway across the river, the scorpion stung him. As the poison filled his veins, the fox turned to the scorpion and said, "Why did you do that? Now you'll drown too." "I couldn't help it," said the scorpion. "It's my nature."
That is the Democratic Party right now. If anyone is surprised by them voting for someone that is against single-payer system, that is in favor of the banks, basically in favor of the same thing as the Republicans, you've not been paying attention to what the Democrats in their current incarnation are. They are Republican light. That is who they are designed to be, and they will continue doing that. That is their essence. And because we don't have any other current mainstream political party, I don't see any choice but to replace them. And I'm not talking work with them. This is clear evidence of why we should not work with them for the most part. If they're doing right, okay, cool. You've got my support. But they are a scorpion. This is what they do. They are there to provide an alternative to the Republican Party that is still bank approved, that is still big industry approved, that is still billionaire approved. And I reject that.
Yep.
We're going to take a quick break between acts of this podcast, and I'm going to play a short little commercial provided by the Bernie Sanders team called How Change is Made.
If you and I were sitting here 10 years ago,
Not decades ago, but 10 years ago.
and I said to you, you know, Chris, I think in 2015, gay marriage will be legal in every state in this country, what would you have told me?
People in the room would have said, you are crazy.
You would have told me I'd be crazy, right?
59% oppose gay marriage.
38 states have already passed laws banning same-sex marriage.
Because of the struggle of people in the gay community and their allies, we have radically transformed that culture.
President Bush's call for a constitutional amendment to ban same-sex marriages was met with quick protests in California.
All of these people are taking the fight to the court of public opinion.
Gay rights advocates say they'll fight all the way to the Supreme Court.
Get this, let's get right to it. It found that 59% of Americans now support same-sex marriage.
Not only the number, but look at the trend.
That historic Supreme Court decision legalizing same-sex marriage across the land, and it's profound, in many ways reflecting the huge societal shift of the last 20 years.
What about the civil rights movement? What about the women's movement? It always happens when millions of people demand change.
Workers demanding a $15 an hour minimum wage.
You're seeing in Los Angeles, in San Francisco, people raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour.
Would anybody here have believed that in a period of 5 years, California, Oregon, New York State, and other cities would have done it? Nobody would have believed that.
No.
You know who did that? You know who started it? You did!
You make change not by sitting down with Mitch McConnell. Yeah. You make change when millions of people in this country demand change. That's the way change has always been. What happens when an idea catches fire? When people see the justice of that idea, it moves very, very quickly.
When millions of people stand up and fight, they win.
We talk a lot about the big tickets, about the Senate, and, you know, like, and I think that's scaring a lot of people away. A lot of people have various forms of leadership, but thinking of being in the House or something doesn't seem anywhere realistic for them. And certainly,
right.
I cannot ever imagine myself in that sort of position. Obviously, a counter argument was, you know, would Bernie have ever imagined himself standing in a Portland arena with thousands of people and birds landing on his podium? But clearly not. You know, we have to build, though, in most cases. And so I wanted to look at some down ballot positions. And I think one of the most kind of low key, to be honest, ways to get involved are in various local boards. And this is something that doesn't require the sort of time commitment as a running for one of those big ticket seats. However, is so crucial. And we talk a lot about school boards on this podcast, but I kind of just wanted to go over some of the other positions. And I was looking through this, and there's a lot there. So I'm in Spokane County. And so for me, it's SpokaneCounty.org, and then you can go and look at the current vacancies. I'm sure you can figure out kind of your local Googling.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to some of the things that are offered here. And I'm not sure really what this first one is. Spokane County No Shooting Advisory Committee. Citizens Emergency Communication Systems and Facilities Advisory Committee. Spokane County Parks Advisory Committee. You know, look at that. Spokane County Parks. Like, if you're someone that enjoys nature, enjoys being outside, might have some experience in that area, well, our parks are about to be decimated. So being a member of that board is such a great way to have your voice heard. And I think most people might not even, you know, like, we think about petitions, but this is actually sitting there and actually having a vote for the parks. So here's one that really caught my eye, Behavioral Health Advisory Board, It's dealing with things about alcoholism and drug addiction. I think that's a big deal in Washington, Eastern Washington especially. Board of Equalization, not sure what that is. Construction Review Board. Don't just get pissed about what's going on construction-wise. Do something about it. A Developmental Disabilities Advisory Board. Civil Service Commission. These are all ones with vacancies, by the way, in Spokane County. There are plenty of other boards. These are ones that you could actually right now go and sign up for. Housing and Community Development Advisory Committee. So if you're pissed off at Ben Carson, do something about it and get on that board. Here's one I'm actually thinking about potentially running for. Mental Health Advisory Board. I think a lot of things come down to mental health. Solid Waste Advisory Board. Spokane Housing Authority Board. Substance Abuse Advisory Board. And when you click on them, it takes you in. And going into the mental health one, just because that was one I read a little closer, it has monthly, it kind of describes what it is. It says there are monthly meetings, 4:30 p.m., third Monday of every month, says where. Then there's a quarterly meeting, specifies who the members are. It's a 3-year term, talks about what its purpose is, what the responsibilities are. But, okay, so look at the responsibilities. Participate in public meetings to solicit input from Spokane County citizens, service providers, and consumers regarding needs and priorities for services. Assist in determination of priorities and service levels. Participate in the review of applicants for funding, which have been submitted to the department. Review and commit on the department plans for services. Review budget material, which has been submitted. Review monitoring reports. And The board meets at least 10 times per year, and the average commitment per month is approximately 2 hours. So this is a way to actively jump in there 2 hours a month. Think about how much time you spend on YouTube or whatever, and 2 hours a month. And I'm sure a diligent, and the better you are, the more time you'll spend. But that's something you can do. And so look through what is available in your area, and let us know. There are going to be requirements, signatures, things like that, that I look forward to kind of looking into what it takes to be nominated. But seriously, that's I think the majority of those positions are basically you have incumbents, and then no one's really running against them because it's just not on people's radar. And this is the bedrock of our democracy. And federal government is broken right now, but I still have some confidence in local government. And there's no reason why you can't get on a board like that. So look, see what's there. Look at what matches your interests and your passions, and then do it. You let us know. How can we help? We try to make these podcast episodes about half an hour to make it easy to fit in with your schedule, but we tend to gab a bit, and this episode went to an hour. So I'm going to cut it here, and we'll continue it as soon as possible with the second half. Melissa Benoist plays Supergirl on a really incredible show. I enjoy it. And for the National Women's March, she held up a sign that said, "Hey Donald, don't try to grab my pussy. It's made of steel." So, in her honor, I'm going to give Supergirl the last word.
In 3, 2...
People of National City, this is Supergirl, and I hope you can hear me. We have been attacked. Mothers and fathers, friends and neighbors, children, everyone, suddenly stopped by a force of evil as great as this world has ever known. Your attacker has sought to take your free will, your individuality, your spirit, everything that makes you who you are. When facing an attack like this, it's easy to feel hopeless. We retreat. We lose our strength, lose ourselves. I know. I lost everything when I was young. When I first landed on this planet, I was sad and alone. But I found out that there is so much love in this world, out there for the taking. And you, the people of National City, you helped me. You let me be who I'm meant to be. You gave me back to myself. You made me stronger than I ever thought possible. And I love you for that. Now, in each and every one of you, there is a light, a spirit that cannot be snuffed out, that won't give up. I need your help again. I need you to hope. Hope. That you will remember that you can all be heroes. Hope. That when faced with an enemy determined to destroy your spirit, you will fight back and thrive. Hope. That those who once may have shunned you will, in a moment of crisis, come to your aid. Hope that you will see again the faces of those you love, and perhaps even those you've lost.